What's up, Guava Bees? Welcome to another guest episode of the Dear Guava Bean podcast. In this episode, I'm sitting down with Justyn, who is a Pinterest marketing manager. She helps blog owners get more traffic and visitors to their website using organic Pinterest marketing. So not paid advertising, completely free social media through Pinterest. It's a very unique niche. This is something that's quite new for me. So I really enjoyed this conversation. I learned a lot from Justyn, and I think you will too. And she also is offering a very special freebie on how to become a Pinterest marketing manager. So if you're interested in learning how to do what she does, you'll find the links on our website to download her freebie. You'll get that in your inbox. It's an ebook, and you'll hear us talk a little bit more about it on the podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and remember to join us inside the Freelancer Sandbox for the full uncut version. Hey, Justyn, thank you for joining the podcast.
Hi, Claire. Thanks for having me.
So tell me a little bit, from the beginning, how did you start freelancing?
So I started traveling. I decided to take a year off from university, and I was in nursing school. So I decided to take a year off from that because once you graduate, then it's straight on to work. And I started traveling, and I spent about a year exploring and going through my savings. And when I started to run out of savings, I realized I didn't want to go home. And I met a friend who was like, you should just try working online. Then you can make money and you can stay traveling. So I started traveling. I left home 5 years ago, and I've been working online now for 4 years, basically because I had no idea that working online was a thing until my friend was basically like, if you don't have any money, just get a job. There's plenty of people that will pay you online to do like writing and a variety of things. So
that's cool. What did you do for work when you started?
I did basically anything to get money. I used to write ads for apartment listings, and I did a lot of virtual assistant work. I used to work for like a dating coach and this guy who sold courses in multi-level marketing. So I've kind of done a variety of things. When I first started out, if someone was like, hey, I have a job for you, I just figured it out. I said yes, and then I would figure out what they were talking about and what I was supposed to do after that.
I love that. That's kind of just that figure it out attitude that you have to have. What about now? Have you found a specific niche, or are you still doing lots of different things?
No, so I finally decided to niche down so that I could actually be really good at something instead of figuring everything out on the fly. So now I do Pinterest marketing. That would be like my number one priority is I usually help bloggers and small business owners, so anyone with like an online boutique or anything like that, maximize their marketing through Pinterest. And then I do freelance writing. So for my bloggers, a lot of times I'll do their Pinterest marketing, and I'll also write a few blog posts every month for them so that they can keep up with their content.
Interesting. Pinterest marketing, because I do Facebook marketing. And so I'm kind of familiar with like the whole digital marketing thing, but I've never met somebody who successfully does Pinterest marketing.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I actually, when I first started doing it, I hadn't met anyone who was doing Pinterest marketing either. And now obviously it's become a lot more of niche that people want to get into because it's pretty much the best because everyone loves Pinterest. So
really, tell me more about it. Like, how do you market on Pinterest? Because I know like on Facebook, people are scrolling and you can put ads in the news feed to get them to click. How do you do it with Pinterest? Is it the same? You just put out posts or ads specifically to get people to come to your website?
Yeah, basically it's the same. You basically just take somebody's current Pinterest profile and rebrand it for their business. So you'll start following people in their niche and getting people interested in their products, and you'll start creating content not really tailored for what you usually use Pinterest for, like if you were planning your wedding or redecorating your kitchen. you kind of erase that from your Pinterest life and you start posting, like, if you are in the travel industry and like you sell presets, then you start posting a lot about how to edit photos, and you start posting, you create pins for your presets, so that as people are scrolling through and they see beautiful pictures on Pinterest and they want to save them for inspiration, those pictures actually are your product. So you can get in front of people that way.
Interesting. I like that idea, using Pinterest just specifically to highlight your products instead of like as a casual, usually what Pinterest is used for, which is just like a casual place to save ideas.
Yeah, so you want to be that person that's like the wedding example, everyone plans their wedding on Pinterest. So if you are in the wedding industry, you want to be that wedding inspiration. You want everyone to be saving your photos and your wedding dresses and like your content, so that when people go out to actually buy things for their wedding, they're going to your website, because Pinterest, of all the online platforms, has the highest rate of people who spend money because of the like on the platform.
I've heard of that. I was also very surprised to hear that. Like, Pinterest is very good for sales. It's even better than Facebook and some other advertising platforms that are way bigger and way more well known. Why is it that Pinterest has like such a high amount of sales?
I think it's mainly because Pinterest is one, it's not really used as social media, so you're never expecting to see anything really from your family on there or your friends. People are using it to get inspiration for projects in their life. So people already go onto the platform knowing that like they're looking for a project or they're looking for clothing inspiration or something that's going to drive to spending money. And then also you have to look at the demographic of people on Pinterest. Pinterest demographic is largely women in their like late 20s to early 40s. So it's a lot of moms, it's a lot of people with time to spare, like homes to work on. It's a lot of people in that kind of age range that want projects and go to Pinterest looking to spend money on a project.
That's cool. Yeah, that's exactly right. I never thought about it that way, but it is a place that you go to search. It's not like Facebook where you go to browse and to connect. It's like you're specifically looking for something. And so I can see why it works. It works a lot like Google in a way.
Yeah, I always tell people that it's the like visual version of Google. It's basically like Google, but you get pictures instead of links with words.
Yeah, that is a great way of looking at it. And I've never thought about it that way, but it's true that I always go to Pinterest when I'm looking for something like an idea or for inspiration or for examples. Pinterest is like my go to visual Google.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it something that freelancers can use to get clients, or is it like more for businesses who are selling a specific product?
I think it's a little bit easier for businesses selling a specific product because people don't usually go on Pinterest looking to hire anyone. But I use Pinterest uniquely to get all of my clients because I work on Pinterest. So I go on Pinterest and I sort of like target people who aren't using Pinterest marketing, and I start to like follow them and interact with them. And I have a lot of content about how Pinterest works for their business. And I kind of push that content towards them to let them know that this is an opportunity for them. And then I'll often reach out and say, hey, I noticed that you have a great business and you're not using Pinterest to its full potential. And I give them some stats and some ideas. And that's actually kind of how I go about finding my clients.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah, because if you have a Pinterest related service, then all of your audience, like all of your customers are on Pinterest. That is such a cool little niche that I've never actually thought so much about. I've heard people talk about Pinterest marketing, and I guess like before I knew that Facebook marketing was a thing, I just assumed Facebook ads didn't work because I was like, I never click on those, who does that? But when I got into it, I realized it actually does work. And so this is the first time I think I'm talking to somebody who actually like has found a little niche in Pinterest marketing.
Yeah, it's been exciting. I definitely get a lot of joy out of working on Pinterest. So I'm excited to like share that and tell more people like get your business on Pinterest, or if you're looking for an in to be able to work online, like check it out because it's a good one.
Yeah, I can imagine a lot of people would like Pinterest. It doesn't have the negative connotation that Facebook has with it. I feel like people like Pinterest. They see it as like a fun hobby versus like a social media platform.
Yeah, exactly. I got so tired of doing, I did a lot of Instagram stuff before I really niched down. And I got so tired of it because people are like, why aren't I growing? Why don't people like my stuff? And I would be like, because you have ugly pictures. I don't know what to tell you. Like, because it's just a completely different like atmosphere. Like people on Instagram are worried about how many people they follow and how many likes they give. And on Pinterest, it literally doesn't matter. You don't even see people's followers. You could follow 6,000 people and it wouldn't matter, and you would like see a variety of stuff, and you don't really know all the time who the stuff comes from until you click into it. So you can see a lot of people's stuff without there being the judgment of if you like that person or if you don't like that person.
Right. It's not centered around the individual. It's more centered around the content.
Yeah, exactly. So even if you put out great content, you're going to succeed. Whereas I felt like on Instagram especially, I felt like putting out really great content didn't actually matter as much towards my success because some people just didn't like it and then or didn't like me, and it was really hard to be able to grow. But I've definitely found a lot more comfort growing in Pinterest. They also give like so many analytics, so you can really track what's working for you. There's no like secret algorithm. Well, there is, but there's no like, it's not as hard to understand. You can look at the trends and you can say, oh, last month I did this and it clearly worked because last month was better than this month. And it's not like, I wonder why I lost 20 followers today and gained 2 yesterday. And,
Yeah, that makes sense. I never thought about Pinterest analytics and algorithm, but it makes sense that they would have a roughly like a very simple one because they're not as driven to like prioritize their news feed. You can see so much in Pinterest at once. What kind of clients or what kind of businesses do well with Pinterest marketing? Like for example, a lot of my clients do online courses because that does well on Facebook ads.
Yeah, so a lot of my clients do online courses as well because those are a really easy thing to promote on Pinterest because, like I said, it's like kind of a visual Google. So Pinterest reads the SEO on your blog pages and on your website, and so having a blog automatically makes you more successful. So I recommend people start a small blog, even if they just have a clothing website or a small like local boutique, to have just a small blog on there where they can talk about new pieces that they're putting out or what inspired, what they're creating. Because that definitely, like, bloggers are 100% the most successful on Pinterest. But when it comes to selling products, as long as you can promote your products in a like way, like stores have started becoming really big. Like you'll see Target and Wayfair, and you think if those stores can be successful, then like the little ones with the cute like boutiques and niches can. So I've mainly worked with online courses, ebooks, and like presets. But this year I've started working with little like online boutique shops, and those actually do really well as well because you're like you can really get to the home decorators and to the project people and that kind of stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. You mentioned something interesting that bloggers do best on Pinterest, and you said that Pinterest reads the SEO on the blog. I didn't realize that. So it is a lot like Google.
If Pinterest is really quick to pick up on if you are scamming people, like if you're putting out spam content where you like if you ever see a pin you really like and you want to read the blog and you click into the blog and it has nothing to do with the pin, Pinterest picks up on that and it'll disable your account because they know they they crawl your website like Google does. So they know what your website actually has. You can't like trick them.
So would you say that all your best clients or the people that do the best on Pinterest have an active blog?
Yeah. So, like I said, even my clients that have online courses, which is why I got into a lot of blog writing as well, just to help them make sure that they were like well rounded and had plenty of content to promote. So, with an online course, we'll put out blog content that is related to the online course that'll help with their like launch or whatever they're getting ready to promote. And then we can do Pinterest ads that lead back to the blog post that sell the course and even that lead back to the course itself.
It sounds like it's really necessary to be a good writer if you're going to advertise on Pinterest, if so much of it revolves around the blog posts.
I mean, you don't necessarily have to be. That's just where I've seen my most success. Because, like I said, stores like Target and Wayfair and those kinds of things have started becoming really big on Pinterest, and they obviously don't have any blog content. But if you are small, a local business, or someone trying to make it, you'll make it a lot faster with blog content.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so that could be a really good niche for anybody who likes to write. I know a lot of people who love writing, but they don't know how to turn that writing into a career or, or how to get people to their blog if they did start a blog. So it's interesting to know that Pinterest is actually ideal for bloggers.
Yeah, and it's a really good way. Like, you don't actually have to spend any money on Pinterest ads or anything to still be successful. Like, you don't actually have to, like, Pinterest does do ads, and you'll see a lot of Pinterest ads popping up and growing a lot lately. But none of my clients currently run Pinterest ads, and they're all finding their own success on the platform without having to spend any money.
Really? So it's just like social media, basically. It's organic marketing. Do you run any paid ads on Pinterest?
I run paid ads for myself, but more just to test and see how it works and grow and trial and error. Because I have a couple of people who have asked me if I can run ads for them, and I just think, I would like I'm spending their money and it stresses me out. So I thought first I'll run ads for myself because I have a course and I have ebooks and freebies and I have things I can promote. So I thought I'll start this year running some ads for myself and I'll put like that my own stuff on the line first to figure out exactly how it works and how you can be successful with it. So I'm not quite there yet, but I'm working on it.
Yeah. Tell me about your course. Is it to learn how to do what you do, Pinterest marketing?
Well, it's actually geared towards um, bloggers and business owners who want to grow themselves. It was kind of designed to take the place of my services for smaller businesses that can't afford to work with me. They could do it themselves, put together their own strategy, or hire someone in house to do it. But I actually got so much interest from people wanting to be Pinterest managers and do what I'm doing that I created a whole module in the course just for working online as a Pinterest manager. So it's both now. So the course is run to go through for people wanting to do it themselves. And then at the end, I teach a specific module for Pinterest, people interested in being Pinterest managers. Because the idea is that even if you want to be a Pinterest manager, you still have to know how to do it yourself. So you need to know all the strategies and you need to go through it like you're doing it for your own blog. And then at the end, I teach you how to apply that to someone else and how to like get clients and how to charge.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that you include all of that information and make it easy for people to become Pinterest marketers because I think that that is a very unique niche. There's a lot of people I know who like marketing but don't like Facebook or they don't want to get into the complicated. Like it's so complicated to advertise on Facebook and they don't make it easy at all. So I can definitely see people interested in learning that platform. And I think you would just work with, and maybe this is just me, but I feel like the people that you work with there would be a lot not nicer, but like you said, it's all women business owners. I imagine they have a lot of boutique shops, a lot of small businesses.
Yeah. And it is like I know that there's men on Pinterest as well, and I don't mean to like say that there's not, but all of my clients are women. I work with all like women-owned businesses because the niche on Pinterest has for so long been women-based. It's definitely a thing that's becoming something men are more interested in, but since Pinterest was created, it's been geared towards moms, it's been geared towards women, it's been geared towards wedding planners and cooks and like home cooks and things like that. So it's definitely always kind of been geared towards women. So that's kind of all of my business is also geared towards women at the moment as well.
Yeah, just those creative industries are really fun to work with. I find that working with creative people is, for me, that's like very enjoyable versus just selling a program or selling a course.
Yeah.
I love working with people who have created their own thing and are running their own little business.
Yeah, like it's their baby and you get to help them promote it and grow it.
Yeah, exactly. So tell me a little more about the course. Is it ready for people to take or are you still working on it?
So the course launched 2 years ago, I think. just over 2 years ago, and I'm redoing it for 2020. So in April, the 2020 updates will be fully integrated into the course. But of course, like everyone who has signed up before 2020 gets access to the new updates, and everyone who is to sign up necessarily before April still gets access to all the new updates. I just wanted to make sure it stayed up to date with algorithm changes and also changes in my business, because I changed the way I work with clients a lot over the past couple of years. And I think it's important to keep that up to date within the course. Like if I'm looking for clients a new way, I want to teach students that. If I found a new strategy that works really well. And I found that this year, a lot of that was changing for me. So I've just been piecing away at recreating a lot of the course content to match the new year and kind of give it a facelift and make it fresh and new again. So it is going to be ready. April 1st is the deadline. But yeah, all the content from the past is still in there, and I'm going to leave a lot of it. I'm just kind of building on what's there.
Awesome. Awesome. And how much is it going to be for somebody to go through the entire course? Also just, financially and like in time.
The course financially costs $247, but I do a payment plan as well as the upfront cost. And then the amount of time to go through it, I feel like it's got 6 modules and then 3 bonus modules. And each of the modules is about half an hour. So half an hour to an hour. So you could get through it in a week if you're very determined. Max a month, I would say, is how long it takes most of my students to kind of get through the content once they get going. Because a lot of it is I'll go through a lesson and then I'll go onto the platform and I'll actually do another video showing you so that you can go along with me, because I'm a very visual learner. So I can read it, but it's a lot more helpful for me to see it. So I think I've had feedback from a lot of students with them saying that they like to go through it with me. So it takes a little bit longer because of that. But if you were totally to just sit down and binge it in the next week, you could definitely get through the whole course.
I love that. I like stuff that's short and simple, but also very thorough. I also do live demo videos in Guava Bean courses where people can see like step by step, and it makes such a huge difference for people to have like that visual training.
Yeah, and then I feel like there's a lot less trial and error questions or troubleshooting questions, because if you explain it to someone, it can very easily get lost in translation, because then when they actually go onto the platform, they're not going to see that button right away, and then they're going to be looking for the button and they're going to start to panic because they can't find it and they're going to think something's wrong. So then you get a bunch of emails from people being like, something's wrong, I can't find it. And that happened to me when I first launched the course. I just did kind of videos of me talking, a lot of text, a lot of reading, a lot of just explaining things to people. And to me, that made so much sense because it's what I do. And I kept getting all these questions of people being like, well, I can't find that, or mine didn't look like that. So I went through and made all these walkthrough videos of me actually saying, okay, this is how you add a pin. This is how you caption the pin. Because just writing it down, people were like, I couldn't find the button. And I'd be like, okay. And I was having a hard time explaining it. So I made the course a lot more visual, because I do think that really helps people with their learning.
Yeah, 100%. We're all visual learners. I think once you see something, it's so much easier to understand. And I know you created a little freebie for everybody that's listening about Pinterest marketing. What's included in that?
Yeah, so I created an ebook because I figured a lot of your listeners would probably be interested in working as a Pinterest manager and the variety of things that come with that, and kind of how to find the clients and how much to charge. So I have written an ebook. It's just a short one that I have called How to Become a Pinterest Manager, and it helps you walk through exactly what you're actually going to be doing, because I think there's a lot of people that are like, well, what? I just pin for people, or how does it work? And then a few of my little insider tricks on how I actually find clients and how I use Pinterest to find clients, because I do notice the market getting a little bit more saturated. So I just wanted to give people a little edge so they're not in a Facebook group commenting on a post that already has 30 comments saying, I can be your Pinterest manager, because that can get a little discouraging. So instead of doing that, I like to teach people how to go out and look for clients instead of waiting for clients to ask or find them. So that's kind of what the summary of the ebook would be.
I love that. Thank you so much for creating something like that. I think it's very useful, even like for as long as I've been in marketing. I know very little about Pinterest. So stuff like that is so useful for people to see.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I was just thinking when you had reached out, I was thinking, I should actually go a little bit further and kind of create and challenge myself to make something that would actually help people to take an actionable step after this is over and say, okay, cool, I've heard about it, but what can I do to get started?
Yes, I appreciate you for thinking about that and taking that step. You're the first podcast guest that has created a lead magnet just for our listeners. So thank you very much. I'll include the links in all of our pages and in our emails so people can easily find that and download it.
Awesome.
How did you find this niche? Did you kind of wander into Pinterest or did you always use Pinterest and just figure out how to monetize it eventually?
So I actually started using Pinterest for my own blog because I have a travel blog, which I thought when I left home, I was going to be this great travel blogger and people were going to be paying me to travel the world. And then no one was visiting my blog except for like my mom, who was only checking it to make sure I was still alive wherever I was in the world. And I could not figure out what I was doing to not be able to get traffic. And finally, I did this course in Bali. I did a course with the Blonde Abroad about blogging. She did like a boot camp there, and I was like, hey, I have to go do that because if I'm going to give my blog a chance, I have to figure out what I'm doing wrong. And I'm obviously doing things wrong. So I signed up and I went to Bali, and she was basically like, okay, here's what you're doing wrong. You're not even marketing your blog on Pinterest, and that's really good. Like, it's a great place to get started. And I was like, really? So I started putting my own content out on Pinterest. I started to test things and see what worked and kind of develop a strategy there. And then that was going pretty well for me. The blog still really wasn't making me any money, but hey, like someone besides my mom was reading it. And I had a friend reach out to me and she was like, hey, I've noticed your blog getting like more traffic and more traction and more shares ever since, like, what did you do differently? And I was like, oh, I started marketing it on Pinterest. And she's like, really? Is that something you could do for me? And I was like, what? Like, you want me to do it for you? I don't know what I'm doing. And she's like, no. Like, if you could do it for me, like, let me know how much you would charge because I just don't have time to figure it out. And it seems like your blog is growing. And I was like, okay, well, like, charged her literally nothing because I was so nervous that I was going to, like, I don't know what I was going to do, mess it up. Um, so I started doing it for her, and her blog actually started growing better than mine because she had a more established blog and a more established audience. So I was able to see that growth even quicker in her because she was just more established than me and had been doing it longer. And then she recommended me to a friend who was also kind of looking for a way to have their blog grow but didn't have the time to put the like energy into Pinterest that it would have taken for her. So then she reached out to me and asked me if I could do the same for her. And it just sort of snowballed from there. My first like 5 clients were all referrals. I had no idea how to like pitch myself on Pinterest. I had no idea how to like explain to people what I was doing. It was just one blogger who'd seen success, who told another blogger who wanted some success, who told another blogger. And then there's always kind of an end point when you get bloggers to a point when they can kind of start doing it themselves because you've set it up and it's so straightforward at that point. And so I kind of got to that point with a few clients and they were like, hey, like, I think I can start taking this over myself. And I was like, so that's a bummer because now I'm out of a job. And that's when I kind of started to realize that I had to give myself some more job security and be able to find clients on my own. So that's when I started, like I told you, going on Pinterest and actually targeting people, targeting bloggers and being like, hey, you should hire me because I could really help you. Look what I did for so-and-so, or look what I did for this girl, so that I could have a little bit of a, like, almost like a waiting list of people. So I knew if one of my bloggers was going to leave me, I knew I'd have another one like ready to go.
I love that story. And I like how you just kind of figured it out naturally and, did it for yourself and then started doing it for other people. That's a nice way to get started and to kind of learn as you earn, so to speak.
Yeah, I love that. Learn as you earn, because that's definitely, and I always tell my students that, like, if you're nervous and you're not sure what you're doing is going to help someone, then it doesn't hurt to just start your own little blog, and you can blog about Pinterest stuff. And in the end, it'll probably help you get clients anyway, because that's what I do. So start your own little blog, start promoting yourself, get some people on your mailing list so you know how to do it. So you know how to get leads from Pinterest. You can start practicing on yourself, or if you have a family member or a friend with a blog who wouldn't mind you experimenting with some new strategies, just so you can get a feel for it. Because once you get a feel for it, it all starts to make a lot more sense, and you gain that confidence to go into a blogger's email inbox and say, you have to work with me right now.
Hey, Guava Beans, want to listen to the rest of this episode? Come join us inside the Freelancer Sandbox. We're offering a Corona special plan where you can join now and get free access until the end of May. You'll get podcast episodes like this and other upcoming guest episodes in the full uncut version. There's another 30 minutes to this episode, so you'll get the full 60-minute episodes only inside the Freelancer Sandbox. Because we know the importance of community at this time, we're opening a private network to everybody. So if you've wanted to see inside the sandbox, if you want to listen to the rest of this episode, if you want to get our support and our trainings and all our best resources, click the button or the link, or just email us at hello@guavabean.com and we'll send you the link to join the Corona special plan. You will not have to pay anything to join this plan. You will not even need to put in a credit card. And we're even removing the automatic subscription to monthly membership. So when the plan ends in May, you don't have to worry about being automatically subscribed to something you didn't ask for. So come join us now, listen to the rest of this episode, and you'll get access to all upcoming future episodes until the end of May 2020. Stay safe, stay healthy, and take care of each other. Bye for now.